You're gonna say that.
I'm Cris.
And I'm Mikey.
And we're inviting you to come sit a spell at our kitchen table.
But this isn't our kitchen.
It's our virtual kitchen table.
Oh, snap.
Yes.
I think we just finally got it.
Okay.
It only took us 1,500 times to get it, but I think we're here, so here we go. Cue the music. Hey, y'all, and welcome to As Good As It Gets, the podcast, Season 1, Episode 1.
I'm Cris.
And I'm Mikey.
And welcome to our virtual kitchen table.
You are invited to hang out with us, and we're going to chat. It's going to be kind of like we do with the weekly chats on YouTube. We will put these podcasts up weekly on YouTube, or you can binge listen to them all
on the podcast.
On the podcast.
Yes.
So we're pretty excited about this. I'm going to stop playing with my pen. It's clicky. I'm sorry.
Yes. We don't do clicks around
We don't
here.
do clicks around here. No, we're not cliquish. Everybody's invited.
Come on.
That's exactly right. This is going to be fun. This is something new. As y'all know, who are members of our Crock Posse, we do weekly chats.
Yes.
Called As Good As It Gets. We also do the cooking shows. We do the fun stuff.
Let's hold on just a second and back this up, because some people may not know who on earth the Crock Posse is, or who Mike or Cris.
Who are these people talking?
Who are we?
And what are we doing here?
Such a deep topic for our first episode. But so who are you?
I am Mikey Goode. I am the husband of Cris Goode, that beautiful lady sitting across from me, beside me, sort of. And we are the owners of recipes.crock.com, which was formed by my beautiful wife. It is her cooking blog that is all things slow cooker.
Yes.
And who are you?
And I am Cris. I guess we're introducing each other.
Yeah.
I am wife to Mikey.
That's me.
And we launched As Good As It Gets, our YouTube channel, about
February of 2016.
In 2016. So we launched that, and it is a YouTube channel where Mikey cooks up my dishes and Aunt Lou's. Aunt Lou is my sister, who also writes on recipes@crock.com.
Mm-hmm.
He cooks up our dishes and shows you guys how easy they can be over on the YouTube channel.
Because if I could do it, anybody could do it.
That's right.
That's right.
And then also you do a little singing.
A little bit. Worship leader at the church. Then we also do some stuff over on the channel as well as on our Facebook page, and we'll show you links to all that in the notes.
Yeah.
But we do church song Sundays. We do weekend wind down, or work week wind downs.
Yes.
I can remember, we haven't done this so long.
We also have a little bit of fun and entertainment. I mean, our whole theme is to do everything with all while having a whole lot of fun over there. And then more recently, we have added travel vlogs because we done gone and lost our minds.
We done gone mobile, yo.
And so we're planning on sharing a little bit about that through this podcast. But that's a little bit of who we are. Recipes at Crock was started back in 2013. Prior to that, we had been blogging over on Goodness Gracious, if you can see up there on the sign if you're watching on YouTube. Otherwise, for those of you listening, our last name is Good with an E. And so
we pronounce it Goode. Everybody else pronounce it Good. Yeah.
And so that's where As Good As It Gets comes from.
Yep.
And you can find our YouTube channel by just typing in asgoodasitgets.com. And
that's as GOODE.
Yes.
Asitgets.com.
Yes. And it'll redirect you to the to the YouTube channel. If you type in As Good without the E, you'll probably find a lovely movie by Jack Nicholson.
Yeah. And Diane Keaton.
That's Helen Hunt.
Yeah. Oh, I'm thinking of Something's Gotta Give. Yeah. Helen. Sorry, Jack, if you're listening.
It's okay.
I do like your movies.
Yes. So anyhow, make sure you get that E in there, and then you'll find the YouTube channel. But so then, who is the Crock Posse?
The Crock Posse. That is our band of merry subscribers. When we were really digging in on how we were going to brand the channel and brand the group of people that were joining us along on this little ride we're on. I was at work one day when I worked for the railroad, and my cousin, Wendell, worked next to me, and we really got along great and talked about everything. And I'd always bounce ideas off of his head and talk to him about what was going on. He always seemed so excited to hear about the adventures that we were getting into with As Good As It Gets and RTC. That's short for recipesthecrock.com. And I had said, man, I'm just racking my brain. We want to brand our subscribers. We don't just want to say that they're our subscribers, but they're a community, our virtual family, if you will. And he said, so you're trying to find a name for your posse, huh? And it just slipped right out of his head. And I'm like, posse, Crock Posse. And I completely shut my railroad down to call my wife at home. She answered. She's like, hey, what's up? And I said, Crock Posse. And so we brought that to our viewers, our subscribers, and had them vote on that and a couple other options. And it was pretty much overwhelming. Everybody wanted to be a part of the Crock Posse.
Yes.
So that's what we got.
Yes.
And it's growing every day.
Yes. And one of the requests of the Crock Posse has been on a regular basis. They've asked us to start a podcast because they would like to listen to us while they're in the car or on their run or on their walk.
Yeah, because you can't watch YouTube videos while you're driving down the road. Or
well, it's not advisable.
No, it's not. Don't do that. Don't YouTube and drive.
No.
But it's okay to listen, just like you listen to the radio. So that's why we're doing a downloadable podcast now, so that y'all can hang out with us, whether you're on your way to work or on your way to the store to pick up some recipe ingredients for something from recipesthatcrock.com. That's our little plug.
Yes. So
I've got to apologize real quick before we keep going. I'm probably going to get the sniffles a little bit. I apologize. I've kicked up some dust somewhere or something. So every once in a while you'll hear, I promise I'll turn away from the mic and I'll clear myself out. But if I sound a little wheezy, I think I kicked up some dust somewhere.
Wheezy,
so,
huh?
Yeah, I've slowly started to get a little.
I'm picturing, isn't that the name of the
that's George Jefferson's wife.
Well, I was thinking Toy Story. Isn't that the name of
the little penguin
that lost his squeaker?
Poor little Wheezy.
So anyhow, but that leads us right into what exactly are we doing here? We kind of have explained. This is a longer format, and it's something that our audience has been asking for a while. It is literally our virtual kitchen table, where we're going to just kind of come and hang out and shoot the breeze.
Yeah.
We have some topics kind of in mind to get us started.
Yeah, this first season we do is for you to really get to know us.
Sure.
You've seen us from the videos on YouTube, and of course, we put our personality in the blog post over at recipesthatcrock.com. But
your boss is making you say that, isn't she?
Yes, she is. Cracking that whip. But if you're going to come over to somebody's house and be at their table and sit in a discussion with them, you really want to get to know them. So this first season is going to be a history lesson, pop quiz at the end, about us, just so you can kind of get to know us better and kind of know
I think
really
it's
going to
be kind of just like a conversation. Some of the things that you kind of get to know about people when you first start hanging out. And I think that this is just kind of the beginning for us to get the ball rolling. And I'm sure this is going to turn into something that we're not exactly sure yet. Yeah. We're just kind of jumping in.
And as much as if you ever had sat down with us and had us and watched us in conversation, it will go in wild tangents in different places. We might start a topic of where did we grow up, and we'll end in the economic situation in Greece. I don't know why, but that's what we probably won't go that far.
I can fairly say that that's not going to happen because I don't have any clue about that.
That was an example.
We
probably won't delve much into politics or social status or stuff like that. We're just gonna it's what you would do if you went over to somebody's kitchen table.
Yeah.
It's an amicable discussion about whatever
pops in our head.
Yeah, pretty much. So when are we going to have these podcasts out?
Okay, so what we are planning on doing, I think we briefly mentioned it a few moments ago, is that we are going to put all of the audio podcasts that you can listen to either hopefully through iTunes or your favorite podcast streaming app on your phone. We're going to put all of those on the website and have a place for you to find them. So you can go and get the whole season, this whole season that we're taping while we're snowed in Indiana.
Yeah.
not cool, Indiana. I'm just saying. Actually, it's very
cold.
Cold.
It's like 14
Indiana.
degrees outside. It's like
but
hot.
So we just got back from Texas, and we are like, "What on earth is this?"
we forgot to turn the heat up before we got back.
Oh my goodness! But anyhow, so we are going to put out that whole season at once. If you are somebody who loves audio content, you can download all of that. If you are somebody who prefers YouTube content, we are going to put at least the highlights from each show out each you said Saturday, correct?
Yeah, Saturday. So in lieu of what we had been doing for our weekly chats, this is our weekly chat. I mean, we'll be binge recording these, and of course y'all can binge listen on the podcast, or if you are more comfortable with a YouTube format to where you're seeing us on the camera as well, I totally get it. I'll miss my pretty face if I don't see it. But we'll be doing each episode every Saturday until the season is up.
Right. And that's not to say that the weekly chat in its old format is going to permanently go away. It's just we truly are only two people, and everybody's requesting a lot of different kinds of formats. And so we're trying to find the best way to kind of do as many of the things that our audience is asking at one time. And so this is a way that we might be able to both provide audio and provide the chat style kind of thing, but it's also going to be a lot less focused perhaps on like slow cooking and that kind of thing, and it's going to be more focused on just kind of chit-chatting and hanging out together. 'Cause that's another thing that we've heard from people is they really like the live content, which we've had to cut back on because of all the travel.
Right.
And so this is a way to kind of still have that chit-chatty, like getting to know you.
Right.
Kind of stuff.
And I mean, we're going to get some blowback probably from it just because people are going to be like, no, I like the old way you did it and everything. And we've gone to school a little bit on change, and where we're at now isn't where we were when we very, very, very first started what we were doing, and we just kind of evolved, and we're still in the middle of an evolution, and we will be until we're dead.
And to be completely honest, we wouldn't even have a YouTube channel if we weren't always looking for a way to kind of change and become and create new things and new ways to connect with people. And so but because of that, we can't always do things the way we've always done them.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that when we change something that's the way it's always going to be. It's just kind of like we've got to kind of figure out what works for us, and we love hearing feedback from the Crock Posse. The only thing that everyone has to understand is it is completely impossible for us to make everybody happy.
You're never going to make everybody happy. That's for sure.
No. And then there's also the point of, we have to be able to like do what we love here, but also still live our lives.
Yeah.
Because you could truly do this 24/7 nonstop, produce, create, and we tried that at one point.
Yeah.
Like when you were still working for the railroad,
I almost died.
We were like killing ourselves
literally to
try and get content out and just try and make everyone happy, and it just was too much. So and one of the other things that we always hear that I mean probably weekly get messages of, please don't go away, please don't stop doing what you're doing, from people. And part of that is us being really conscious of where we spend our time so that we don't get burned out.
Right. Well, I mean, a year ago, this time last year, I found myself in the hospital because I was working.
That is very true.
8 hours a day at a very, 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 very stressful job, and then coming home and cracking a beer or two or five and editing videos. And then on the weekends when everybody else is relaxing, we were taping videos and then all week long.
Marathon taping.
And then just constantly that was the circle of life for so long, and I had sleep apnea and didn't know it. And
really bad sleep apnea.
Yeah, so
like, wasn't breathing.
No,
most of the night.
I was having chest pains, and a guy at work, I kind of opened up to him and told him about it, and he's like, "Dude, when you get off work, if you think you're okay now, when you get off work, maybe you should go to the emergency room." So let me tell you, that was a fun phone call.
Yes.
Getting off work, and I went straight to the emergency room, and I called my wife on the way. I'm like, "Hey, babe, I know you're probably kind of sleepy right now, but I just want to let you know I won't be home for a little bit." She's like,
"Go to the emergency
Where are you going?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm going to go to the emergency room. I'm having chest pains." She got loud real quick.
Yeah, well, and not to mention then once we find out from the emergency room that they are like 99.9% sure that he has really, 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 really bad sleep apnea. And yet we get put on this like massive waiting list for 2 months to get it assessed, and then to be told that then we're on a waiting list to get a machine. And then all of a sudden someone finally looks at the results and goes, "Oh crap, the dude isn't breathing."
Yeah, I was like, I stopped breathing once a minute.
Not a happy camper that entire time.
And I was terrified to sleep. I mean, there was times I would force myself to stay up just because I was so scared to sleep.
And I wasn't sleeping either, because every time I'd hear him stop breathing, which again was at least once a minute, I would like try to wake him up because I didn't want him to, I didn't want you to die.
Yeah.
So
I was also about almost 50 pounds heavier. So imagine trying to roll me out of bed that big. So. But here we are. So we've evolved. We've evolved from that.
Yes. Well, yes, we learned.
We've made a lot of life changes. Killing
ourselves should be a priority.
That was like up there, right in the top 5 things to do, or to not do.
And we realized, hey, we are both. We love the internet. Clearly, I follow blogs that I absolutely love. Some of my best friends are bloggers. We follow lots of YouTube channels that we absolutely adore. And we both have podcasts that we love. So I know what it's like for things to kind of change or feel a little different, or what are they doing now? But as a creator, I also get it. Like, I'm like, I get that you've got to keep kind of figuring out how this all works, because the other thing is, we have a lot of really great people who've been with us from the very beginning. Yeah. And then, but we've also added a lot of great people along the way. And it's like everybody's favorite thing is different.
Yeah, because they came in at different times. And I mean, like you said, you said, I'm a creator. Yeah. We're both creative people. Now think of your favorite singer, your favorite songwriter. And they write a song that just blows you away, that you connect with, that you just love. Would you want them to write that song again and put it out?
No, but I totally get that. I want it to feel similarly. And so that's what our attempt is. We don't know what it's going to be like as we go. And we hope that this is, and here's totally your out. If you do not like this, by all means, you don't have to listen. You don't have to watch it. We'll clearly mark what it is on the channel. Yeah. You can just stick around for cooking Chris's dishes, or if you like the travel stuff or whatever. If you like
the live stuff, we're going to do it all.
But. Yeah, we're going to try to make sure that we still keep the staple things that we've established, and that this is just because this is very similar to the weekly chat, we're going to try and sprinkle in a little bit of the hanging out parts of the live content with this to make it feel a little like, to kind of pair those things together. That doesn't mean that the live stuff will still happen whenever we have a good internet connection is what it boils down to. Right. When you're in the middle of the mountains, sometimes
in an RV park, and they say, "Hey, we've got free Wi-Fi,"
and it's like drip, drip, drip. Yeah. It's like there's no way to go live. You can try, and we have, and
if we get lucky, sometimes maybe it'll work, but more often
we're going to see what we can do. But at the same time, we don't want to miss out on connecting with you guys that way. So this is something like, I mean, we got asked this past week. Okay, where are you guys with the podcast? People have been asking for the podcast for a very long time. And so we're like, that is something I mean, the equipment could come with us when we're on the road. We've got a studio in flux at our home that we're
working on it.
We're making a dedicated space for all of this. And so we think we can do something like this, and we're excited about it. And it may completely bomb. And hey, that's part of the process.
Well, that's part of being a creator is you want to try something new. You know, are you good at it? If we're not, if this ends up being a botched mission, then we'll abort mission and go back to some of the other stuff that we're familiar with. But we're still going to try new things.
Right.
It's like trying new food. Now, I love Mississippi beef roast, as you all well know. But I don't think I'd want to eat it every day. I want to try new things.
Yes.
And here, perfect example. I could have stayed at the railroad and did what we did and probably modified the schedule, but then it wouldn't have allowed us to try new things like, I don't know, go to Texas for a month. And we came back.
I just want everyone to know that he's worked very hard in this conversation to work in Mississippi beef roast and Texas into the same, because those are like his favorite things to talk about.
Right now, these are a few of my favorite things. But what I'm getting at is, if we'd have stayed doing the same thing we were doing the whole time, then we wouldn't have experienced new things. Which means I would have never been able to say that I've ever gone west of Branson, Missouri, and now I've gone as far as southeast Texas, and we're going to go further before too long. I would have never been able to play 7 or 8 open mics around Texas just for the heck of it, and film them and meet new people and come back with amazing experiences.
Right.
I wouldn't be experiencing life with you like I am now.
Right.
And to me, that's what this is.
And I hope when this finally comes out, the Crock Posse is going to have seen several of our travel vlogs. They've just now, when we're recording this, they've just now seen a couple things, and we've gotten a lot of positive feedback that people are excited to go along with us.
Yep.
And what we're doing. And we are doing it a little bit differently, which they haven't seen all of that yet, but because we're sprinkling in the recipes and the cooking throughout all the other stuff. I mean, traveling, we want to show you all that stuff and show you the beautiful places that you can find all over this nation. As we crock the nation, as we say.
That's right.
But at the same time, we wouldn't be able to do that if we hadn't just kind of been open to what the next thing is. So, and for the most part, let's just be the Crock Posse has always been very supportive in whatever we decide to do, because we kind of have been like fumbling this thing around for a long time of trying to just like figure out, like, when we were killing ourselves, we're like, hey, we're going to do a post or a video every single day on top of the full recipes at Croc schedule of new recipes, like tons of new recipes and all that kind of stuff. And it just was way too much. And so we're very conscientious of that, and we're trying, but that's why we're thinking very mindfully of how we're moving forward.
Yeah.
And so,
because we're not experts.
No.
Is anybody really an expert?
No. But I know what I was blubbering about just then, and I never got around to it. Is one of the questions that I think I'll probably get from my website folks, and maybe probably some of the Crock Posse, is there's a lot of people who are really into the crock potting and slow cooking and instant potting and air frying. And we will be working that kind of stuff in as we can.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we're first and foremost, recipes.crock.com is our main sponsor, being the main benefactor of all that we're doing here.
Yes.
So we'll definitely talk about cooking. I mean, that's what we do. We're cooking up things with a side of life.
Exactly.
I'm stealing that from from Goodness Gracious. But
yes.
That's ours too. So
yeah.
But no, we'll definitely talk about food. Yeah. Because we like food.
Well, yeah, clearly.
And we love the new tech that's coming with food.
Yeah,
I'm the gadget guy, so I'll be talking about slow cookers, air fryers.
I've dubbed him my gadget guy. I've given him our Instant Pot and said, go to town. It's so interesting because a couple years ago, honestly, it was a reader from Recipes at Croc sent me a note several years ago before Instant Pots were a thing.
Right.
And he had gotten a gift because his kids, I don't know if it was I think it might have been his daughter, was a little concerned because he was using a stovetop pressure cooker. And she was wanting him to use what she thought the Instant Pot was a safer kind of way for him to do. And so he was trying to adapt his favorite pressure cooker recipes to an Instant Pot. And I'm like, what is an Instant Pot? But he was a loyal reader of recipes at Croc's newsletter. And so he was asking me to help. And so I think at that time I ordered one, and this box came, and I opened it up, and this spaceship looking thing was inside with 1,000 buttons on the front. And I'm like, good Lord, no wonder he's like overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed, and I like cook with all different kinds of gadgets and that kind of thing. And so started playing around with it, started trying to adapt recipes. And I do really like it. It does not replace the slow cooker in my house. If you are a loyal reader or listener, you know that we have the Wall of Crock, which is about 30 different slow cookers with all kinds of different features and all that kind of stuff. And anyhow, so we started cooking with the Instant Pot. We've put some recipes out there. We have a growing list of that, and people are really into that. Yeah. But I don't know how I got off on that tangent. I'm sorry. Oh, because you're the gadget guy.
Yeah, because I'm the gadget guy.
Well, and a lot of people are like afraid of their Instant Pots, which is kind of like fits our philosophy. Like our whole thing is we want people to feel good in the kitchen. We want people to feel good just in general. Yeah. Like we have a life mantra. Why don't you tell them about that? Which Crock Posse members already know. But yeah, go ahead.
There's people right now, they're listening to this, and they're like, yeah, they know what it is. And it's simple two-word phrase, just it's called Speak Life. Yes. I think we
totally stolen from Toby Mack.
Yeah, Toby McKeon. If you're listening, we love you.
Yes.
But it really struck with us. And if you ever get a chance, listen to Speak Life from Toby Mack. It's really a good song, but it's what we do. And once we started doing that, right, just in our own relationship and our family, and it's amazing how much you can change the world by doing that.
Well, it's one of those things that we started with our family first. You know, we have a 10-year-old little girl, Miss Ad.
She's amazing.
Yes, and so as we parent her, that was one of the first things that I think we realized, that we always want to speak life and encouragement into her. And we also know that in our marriage that's a big, big thing. Mm-hmm. But I think it really hit me, like you were saying before, we still have, we just don't spend a lot of time on it. We have a website called Goodness Gracious. And I know you all will be shocked to find out that sometimes people aren't nice on the internet. Like they sometimes say mean things. And not just, hey, this didn't work out for me, or hey, because that happens, or hey, I just didn't really like this, or hey, I don't like mushrooms. You know, that's a real thing. But sometimes people are incredibly hateful online.
A little bit. And
when you get those messages, and sometimes they come in waves, and you know, sometimes we may mess up, and not that hate is ever called for, but it's like, okay, my bad. We should have done this differently or whatever. But sometimes it's like, hey, look, here's my macaroni and cheese recipe. And then it's like, I hate you. Like you get that kind of, you get those kinds of emails of, it's insane the things that people will say to you. And so initially when that happens, your reaction, or my old reaction, used to be like, oh, really? Well, let me tell you a few things. And and I'd start typing out these responses that were just maybe not as hateful, but extremely witty, and I thought were going to make me feel better. And on occasion, I would send those, and the result was I felt awful, not good. Yeah. And I actually had a conversation with myself and said, you know what? We got to do something, because whenever I respond like that, goodness gracious isn't being quite so gracious. And that's not who I am. And that's not who I want to be. And I can't let a stranger on the interwebs turn me into somebody
dictate
that
my mood.
I'm not who I am. So how do we tackle that? And this Speak Life thing kind of really started to. Now, Speak Life doesn't mean let people walk all over you. Oh, no. No.
Well, that's different.
No.
But when they do something, it's, I mean, how do you react to it? I mean, I'm a very creative person, and it
can be used for good or evil.
It's exactly right. It's just like Spider-Man's superpowers. You know, with great power comes great responsibility. With great creativity comes great responsibility. Because I could.
They call the word a sword for a reason.
Yeah, I could destroy somebody with a few words. I've always been good at that, and I'm glad that I don't do it because, again, if I do that,
it doesn't make you feel better.
It doesn't just reflect on me, which is bad enough because I don't want to be seen as a jerk. But it's like, you're a part of this because you're a part of me, and we firmly believe in this whole marriage thing that she is me and I am her. And so when I do something that makes me look like a schmuck, it makes her look like a schmuck, and I don't want to ever make her look bad. It makes Miss Ad look bad. It makes everything that we've built and everything that we've done look bad. So, yeah, we're not going to lash back out at these people. We don't like it, and we do take measures at times to maybe hush them up.
Well, somebody explained to me a long time ago that comments on the internet are oftentimes like your garden. And so if somebody's like planting a weed, and by that I mean like nastiness or tearing, because it can very quickly turn from tearing us down to tearing other people. And I've had that happen too, tearing other people down. And that's like attacking me is one thing because it's like I'm on the internet. But then if somebody has taken the time to comment on our blog or whatever, and then someone else comes along and tries to tear them down too, it's just like, that's not the environment. The part of the reason we're online is we want to create a positive place to engage with our community. And so they talk about, you've got to, it's just like a garden. You have to weed your garden. And so if somebody's planting kind of seeds of nastiness, that you just kind of got to take care of that and tend to your garden. And sometimes we've been better at that than other times. But that's completely, I think that goes back to where we just kind of have a standard of we speak life and speak encouragement is what it boils down to.
And if we can't speak life into something, we're just not going to speak.
And we're not perfect at that.
No.
Because I'm sure you can, listen to our conversations on a day-to-day basis. And there are times that is not life that's being spoken. Yeah. But ultimately, it is a place that we come back to. Is we're like, okay, I was in the wrong, shouldn't have talked that way, and pull it back. But that's kind of one of the reasons why we wanted to do this is how did we get to this point? And our story is a long journey to this point.
It's a 20-year story.
Yes. And so, but with all that, we also want to have fun because that's kind of what we do in life is we try to have fun. Yeah. We try to make life fun. Why not, right?
Well, you've only got one, so you could live your life wallowing in negativity and as well, that's what they call the people on the internet. They're mean trolls. You could troll other people and might think it's fun, but
and that goes back to that's this format. I had no idea we were going to be talking about trolls.
It was either this or Greek economics, so
thank goodness. No, the other thing that I've learned is when I start responding to a lot of that negative stuff, if I respond, because sometimes like I've got 20 emails that came in all at one time, do I spend my time responding to somebody who just wrote me to be hateful, or do I spend my time answering someone's question or trying to connect with somebody who's genuinely enjoys what we're doing? I'm going to choose to spend my time trying to connect with the people who like what we're doing, because nobody forced the person who's unhappy to watch or read what we wrote. They are voluntarily doing that and then getting upset. And so they can click off if they want to. But the bottom line is what I found a lot of times is if I do have time to respond, and I do respond to those folks, and I respond in kindness, but I also don't I don't let them walk all over me, because a lot of times the things that are being thrown at us are like completely absurd, like they've misunderstood something, or they maybe missed something and they're getting upset about that, or I just maybe don't fully understand what it is they're upset about. Either way, but if I respond to them, a lot of times what comes back is a person who sometimes they apologize, sometimes they say, I was just having a really bad day. So let's think about that. So if I respond back in hate, it like adds fuel to the fire. Like they're having a bad day, I make their bad day even worse.
And what good does it do?
No, that just makes it bad for the next person who encounters them. Yeah. I mean, it's like, let's kind of try and put the fire out. Either just don't mess with it, or
and a lot of times that's what they want, is they want that kind of conflict. So if you feed that, if you burn the weed will just come back stronger. If you pull the weed, don't feed the weed.
You're taking my analogy and just going with it.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
It's my zen. I don't want to be mean. I could be mean. I don't want to be mean because
and we're not always perfect. So like I have sent plenty of zingers. I'm sure there's somewhere I've zinged. But I can tell you that I've never felt good about it.
Yeah. Oh, I've typed out a bunch of responses. But I started this, 5 or 6 years ago, about 6 years ago, whenever I would create something and I thought it might have a little bit of a spiciness to it, if you know what I mean. Like something that might be right, my toes on the line or crossing the line with what I was doing, I'd always have you proofread them.
Yes.
And it's really helped me a lot in my spiritual journey.
You don't like for me to tell you no.
No, but I always keep an open mind, because there's times that you said that's not a good idea, and then my stubborn redneck way, I went ahead and went through with it, and then, right after or even years down the road, I look back and go, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that. I should have listened to her. Yeah. So now, if I see like a negative comment on something, more often than not, we're just going to mute those people. We're just going to shut it off. Again, kill the weed.
Right.
But then there's times like, my sugar might be low because I might not have eaten. And anybody that knows me intimately well, like my wife does, knows that when I don't eat, I get a little cranky sometimes. And those are not the time to read any YouTube comments, because the good ones are good and make you feel good. But then when you see the bad ones, they're like, it's almost like the person standing right in front of you spitting in your face. And what do you want to do with something like that? So I had one the other day, and it just irritated the snot out of me. And more often than not, I'll just go, oh, okay, whatever, see you later, and click the 2 little clicks, and that person disappears. But then I had one that I don't know, for some reason it was just at the right time, set me off, and I typed out the most elaborate response because when I get mad, sometimes when I get mad, and I'll throw a fit and be a 40-year-old baby. Other times, if I'm in my creative mode, I've learned that if you want to agitate somebody, you don't yell at them. You become sarcastic. So I wrote out this huge, long, elaborate, sarcastic response to this person and ended it with, gosh, you must be a joy to be around the Christmas table.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And so, and then I read it and I'm like, yeah, I better not write. So I wrote this response out, and then I showed it to Lou, and she's like, if you do that, your boss is going to kill you. And I deleted it, but I told Cris about it later. But yeah. And then looking back on it now, it was a good response if I was that kind of person. No. But I know that by not responding to that person said volumes more than saying something hurtful.
But also, you don't, like, people who are generally in a good place don't send nasty notes. So you're when you respond nastily to somebody who's had a who clearly must be in a bad place, if a recipe video where a recipe blog is like the point that pushes them over the edge. Like something else is going on. So like don't heap up on that.
No,
because
no sense
it's just not being a kind human to do that, even if they're not being kind.
And that's like people that want to start a debate over things that you don't agree with. I don't,
just
there's sometimes it's good to hold a nice, healthy debate, or if you want to answer questions from somebody.
Well, and there's a time and a place for those things. And on a random YouTube video about cooking chicken is not the place for that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of it's one of the bad things about the internet is that you can be going along and thinking you're kind of just in a peaceful place, and then all of a sudden like these big fights break out, and it's like
over the dumbest
silliest
things.
Yeah. So that like we seek to create an environment that's not that way. Right. And hope to goodness that this particular podcast / video doesn't like create an environment that does that. Now I'm like scared. I'm like, oh, we've said all these things, so what's going to happen.
Oh, in my head, I'm going, should I talk about this? Should I talk about
people
that?
are going to pick at it and say, oh yeah, well, let me do this, and we're not. No, that's not what we're about. Like
again, speak life.
Like there are plenty of places on the internet to find the negativity if that's what you're seeking out, and that's just not what.
Go to Reddit. Go over there.
No.
Well, don't go to Reddit. I mean, Reddit's like just a thread of everything, but it's like going to Google, but Google something else.
Yeah.
We're here to speak life.
Yeah.
We're not here to argue.
We're going to have some fun. So that's what we're hoping to do. We will provide show notes both on the YouTube video and then on the website.
Yes, click down on the description below in the YouTube video and you'll see the show notes of different links that we talk about, or of course our sponsor, recipes.croc.com.
Yes.
And also
the soundbite.
Yes, with the soundbite, and then also on the video you'll see the thanks to our Croc partners over at patreon.com/recipes.croc, and all of our patrons over at Patreon who support us financially in what we're doing, that are allowing us to create
new things,
do new things, and
old things.
Because of you guys, we're doing this. Because if it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't have microphones. If it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't have a earphone or headphones. That's what they're called, to listen to.
That are so attractive.
Yeah.
What is this?
You're glimmering in that gold, I tell you.
I guess.
They're not gold or they're not gold headphones.
No, no.
They're just shiny.
I was very frugal. They've been painted gold.
Yeah. I was very frugal when we made the purchases for this stuff. But,
yes.
This is fun. I think this is gonna be.
So we're gonna dive in again. Just as a reminder, if you want to binge listen, you can find all of this season over on recipes.croc.com.
Yes, the first season will be, like I said, our history lesson. Pretty much, I don't know if I'm supposed to call it this or not, but the recipe for the good life.
Oh, well.
Our recipe. It's our recipe for what got us here.
Well,
to where we're at now.
Yeah, and I don't know that we necessarily added all the ingredients. I think other things have shaped us throughout time. So, but no, that's great. And this was just our kind of first flight. And so we hope you guys will join us. If you're watching on YouTube, you can
comment down below. Let us know what you think. If you think this is something you'll enjoy, be nice if you don't. I mean, it's going back to the whole speaking life thing and negative stuff and all that. If you don't like something,
that's fine.
There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, okay. You've used this analogy before. In fact, it's on the bottom of the blog post at recipes.croc. I pay attention. I read. But again, this is our virtual kitchen table. Mm-hmm. So you're here with us having coffee, having breakfast, having lunch, dinner, whatever.
Right.
Maybe a midnight snack, or I'm sorry, I'm getting hungry. Not grumpy hungry, just hungry. But if you come over to somebody's house for dinner, and there's all kinds of goodies on the table. I mean, we've talked about what we're doing, where we've been, what's coming up. So we've got think of all those as little side dishes. Right. And then the main course, of course, is us just yakking. And then you don't like the Brussels sprouts that are on the table.
I don't blame you.
Just abstain from the Brussels sprouts. Yeah.
People, I just don't like them either.
But you know, I didn't used to, but I went over to my buddy's house one night, and
he made good ones.
His wife and he both are doing the low carb thing as well, and they had bacon fried Brussels sprouts.
See, bacon does it for you.
You could put bacon on a shoe, and I would probably chew on the shoe. But they did that to those Brussels sprouts, and they were amazing. But side note, I like Brussels sprouts.
Lest anyone be
but if you
worried,
don't,
we're not going to talk about
just
food.
abstain from the Brussels sprouts. You don't need to like point at the Brussels sprouts and go, "Those Brussels sprouts suck." Ew, Brussels sprouts.
Like it's different to say,
eat the macaroni and cheese
I'm going
instead.
to pass on this because I don't like Brussels sprouts. Then Brussels sprouts are disgusting and it's ruining everything.
Or you've changed your recipe on the Brussels sprouts. You're using bacon now, and you didn't use bacon before. Yeah, because we want to try something new. So if you like it, give us a thumbs up on the video. This is for those of y'all who are watching this on YouTube specifically. Give us a like on the video. If you have not become a member of this Crock Posse that we're talking about, you can subscribe down below. And also in the comments, let us know, is this something that you dig, or what do you dig about this podcast, and what do you want to know? I mean, this is going to be an open forum. Like I said, the first season is going to be, we're going to give you a lesson on us. You're going to get to know us like you would if you came to our real kitchen table. We don't have a real kitchen table. We have counters. But if you came and sat down and said, I want to know about you, this is what it's going to be.
This is our virtual chit-chatty kitchen table.
Birth to today. But, you know, if this is something that we, first off, we've got to like it, you know, or else we're not going to be good at it. So if we enjoy it, you know, we're going to keep on going with season 2 and whatever. And we're going to have so many different topics. So in the comments down below, what's something you want to know about us? What's something that you would want us to discuss?
Right. And, yeah.
And
you can always reach out to us, through our emails, which will also be in all the show notes. And so we like hanging out with you. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, and also again, one more time, this was brought to you by recipesthatcrock.com, as well as our patrons over at patreon.com/recipesthatcrock. If you want to join in on the support of this channel, this podcast, the blog, and the Crock Posse, then you can check that out, the many different ways to join in. The high dollar one that's like $250 a month, it was a joke, really. But Rich Billionaire, I'm going to go back to you if you're listening, and if you want me to write that song for you, you know what to do.
He's only allowed to say that because he says that he's not going to edit this.
Yeah.
And I don't like it when he says that. So,
but we do thank you all for joining in with us, and stick around for the ride. I think this is going to be a lot of fun.
Yes. Till next time.
Till next time, cue the music.